Hi, welcome to my channel, History with Nati. Here, we bring you real stories, history and events that shaped Nigeria and the world. If you love stories that keep you hooked, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Today, we are diving into the shocking story of Kuje Prison, a place right in the heart of Abuja that once held terrorists, politicians, and high-profile criminals. And in 2022, it became the center of a daring attack that shook Nigeria to its core. What comes to your mind when you hear the word prison? Iron bars, armed guards, maybe a place where dangerous criminals are locked away forever. Now imagine a prison right at the heart of Nigeria's capital, Abuja, a prison that has held terrorists, corrupt politicians, activists, and even international criminals, a prison that should be one of the most secure places in the country. But in 2022, something happened that shocked the world. Kuje Prison was attacked. Tonight, let's dive deep into the full story of Kuje Prison, its history, its secrets, and the night it fell. Kuje Prison, officially known as the Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center, was built in 1989. Back then, it was designed as just another correctional facility, a place to hold regular criminals, fraudsters, petty thieves, and those awaiting trial. With a capacity of about 560 inmates, no one thought it would one day become the center of international attention. But as Nigeria's security challenges grew, so did the importance of Kuje. Soon, it wasn't just housing petty criminals, it became the destination for high-profile prisoners, corrupt politicians, militant leaders, and hundreds of Boko Haram suspects. Kuje transformed from an ordinary prison into one of the most sensitive detention centers in the country. Over the years, Kuje Prison has held some of Nigeria's most talked about names. Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, was kept there during his trial. The Shiite Islamic leader, Sheikh Ibrahim el-Zakzaki, also passed through Kuje's gates. Corrupt politicians, including former governors and lawmakers accused of stealing billions, once found themselves behind its walls. But perhaps the most dangerous inmates were the Boko Haram and ISWAP members, men who had taken part in bombings, kidnappings, and brutal killings were kept right there, just kilometers away from the presidential villa. Think about that for a moment. The seat of government and just a short drive away, some of Nigeria's deadliest terrorists sat behind bars, plotting and waiting. This strange mix of politicians, activists, and terrorists gave Kuje Prison a reputation like no other. Some cells had comfort and privileges, while others reeked of suffering. Stories leaked of inmates bribing their way to freedom, of guards smuggling in food and mobile phones, and of unlikely friendships forming between criminals and politicians. But the night of July 5th, 2022, changed everything. Abuja residents were about to witness one of the boldest prison breaks in Nigeria's history. As darkness fell, gunfire echoed through the air. Then came the explosion. Dozens of heavily armed men stormed Kuje Prison. They carried rifles, bombs, and grenades. Their mission was clear: free their brothers in captivity. For over 2 hours, chaos ruled. The attackers overpowered the guards. Explosives blasted through walls and gates. Prisoners shouted, some in fear, others in joy. Imagine the terror. Inmates running through smoke and dust, guards retreating, the night sky lit with fire. When it was over, the damage was staggering. Out of more than 900 inmates, 879 escaped. Among them were 64 Boko Haram fighters, men the government had struggled for years to capture, now free again. At least 4 inmates were killed. Dozens of security officers were injured. And the world was left asking, how could this happen at the center of Nigeria's capital? The days after the attack were filled with fear. Abuja, usually a relatively calm city, was suddenly on edge. Roadblocks sprang up everywhere. Security forces combed the forests and villages, trying to recapture escapees. Slowly, some were caught, tired, hungry, and desperate, but many others vanished into thin air, blending back into society. President Muhammadu Buhari visited the scene. His words: he was disappointed with intelligence failures. Many Nigerians were not just disappointed, they were angry. How could a facility holding Boko Haram fighters be so poorly defended? International observers called it an embarrassment. Ordinary Nigerians called it a failure of government. The truth was bitter. If terrorists could walk into Kuje Prison, cause chaos, and walk out freely, then nowhere was truly safe. But even before the attack, Kuje Prison was already a symbol of Nigeria's challenges. Overcrowding plagued the facility, built for 560, but often holding far more. Corruption thrived inside its walls. Inmates with money lived like kings. Those without suffered like animals. Terrorists and politicians lived side by side, a strange reflection of Nigeria itself, where power and crime often seem to dance together. Kuje was not just a prison, it was a mirror, showing Nigerians the cracks in their justice system, their security forces, and their leadership. The July 2022 attack only magnified those cracks for the world to see. So what does Kuje Prison really represent? It represents a nation's struggle with corruption, with insecurity, with justice. It represents a place where the most powerful and the most dangerous meet, and it represents a wound that still hasn't fully healed. The 2022 attack was not just a prison break, it was a wake-up call, a reminder that in Nigeria, even the strongest walls can fall, and even the most secure places can be breached. Now the question is, has Nigeria learned its lesson from Kuje, or will history repeat itself again? Only time will tell.